Today, we will finally hear, after it has been unsealed, the charges against the former president there. So there's been a lot of speculation, but now today will be the day that we also hear from the district attorney as well about those charges being brought against the former president here. This has been a investigation, but today is all about the New York City local case there. And now we want to get some more insight here on this matter as we wait for the former president to come out. We will be bringing that to everybody when that does happen. But I do want to bring in special guest here. This is Dwane Cates. Thank you so much. A certified specialist in criminal law joining us here today on Live Now from Fox. Thank you again for being here. We always appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
No problem, no problem. So let's talk about what we are about to see here in moments as the former president will be going to the courthouse here. Can you just tell our viewers and kind of map it out when he gets to the courthouse, maybe just kind of break down the timeline that will happen once he arrives there?
Well, if he's not been booked, he'll be booked when he gets there, and I believe he hasn't been. So that's when they would take the fingerprints and mugshot. They're talking about not doing a mugshot, and that makes sense because everybody in the world recognizes who he is. So that wouldn't be that big a deal if they didn't take a mugshot of him. After that, he'll be taken to the courtroom, and an arraignment is a very simple procedure. They may read the charges to him, or the attorney can waive reading of the charges. And because normally they read the charges and give and advise you of your constitutional rights. But when there's a lawyer present, the lawyer usually waives the reading and waives further advisement of their constitutional rights, because as an attorney, we've already talked to our client about what the constitutional rights are. And then he will enter a not guilty plea, and that's generally it. The judge will determine some sort of release conditions, whether he's going to release him on his own recognizance or make him post a bond. And I'm sure he's going to ask for permission to travel back to Mar-a-Lago, and the case starts at the arraignment. So the case starts today.
All right, and a lot of people also talking about a possible gag order. If one is put in place there, how does that affect him as far as speaking out to reporters there? We know he has this special address that he wants to do at 8:15 Eastern, maybe even talking before and after coming out of court. Talk about a gag order that's placed in New York, and when he goes to Florida, does that still hold?
Well, if the court places a gag order on you, that means you can't talk about the case anywhere. And so I would assume that he couldn't talk about the case in Florida. Now that will be they will fight that tooth and nail and take it to whatever appellate court that they have to, because this is a unique situation. He's running for president of the United States, and he's been accused of crimes, which he says he's been uncharacteristically charged with crimes, and he needs to be able to speak to those crimes in the election. And if he's prevented from doing that, there's going to be a huge court battle, and this will end at the Court of Appeals relatively quickly.
Yeah, all eyes right now there definitely on just what is going to come from today. And then really, as we're talking about not only a former president, but one that wants to be president again there when he is in the middle now and starting out this campaign for 2024. Is he going to have to sort of like weave in and out and navigate the way he chooses his words while campaigning? Or is it because if you're in the campaign mode, can you have some sort of leeway as far as, or how it almost feel like if you have a muzzle on you, if you can't campaign the way you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a T-shirt that says you have the right to remain silent, but do you have the ability? And Donald Trump doesn't have the ability to remain silent. But he does have to watch what he says, because anything he says can and will be used against him in a court of law. So, I would expect if there ends up a trial, there's going to be lots of video clips of Donald Trump saying various things.
Yeah, we all know that. I mean, that is probably something that you can be guaranteed to be, if you're a bettor there, that you know that Trump is going to say something. It's just, you just don't know what it is going to be here. But another question that I have for you, Dwane, here is this is something that the feds investigated, and they decided not to bring any charges against Donald Trump. Now we have the DA there, Alvin Bragg. He says, yep, let's do it. And then it goes for felony counts there. How do we go from misdemeanor to elevated there to the felony stature that we're hearing about?
Well, that's really interesting. And we don't know exactly what the charges are yet. But what everybody's been talking about is that he violated federal campaign laws, campaign finance laws. Now, that makes it really interesting because he's not been convicted of violating campaign finance laws, and the feds refused to even try to charge him with campaign finance violations. And so I don't know how they connect this misdemeanor and turn it into a felony by connecting it to a federal crime, which is neither been charged nor convicted. And in fact, they turned down charging it. So that makes this I've never heard of anything like that before in my 25 years practicing law. And this is going to be really interesting.
And what do you think, too, about just the whole process there of getting Donald Trump there from his residency to the courthouse there, and kind of having that, well, not kind of having, I mean, it's going to have that circus atmosphere there, because you're going to have protesters, you're going to have people that support him there, and they're all going to be going after each other. But at the end of the day, he's just going to walk in a side entrance there and go in. And the process, like you said, there are only about 30 minutes expected.
Yeah, it should be a very short process, and getting him to the courthouse is going to be a trick. Secret Service are not amateurs at this. They've been transporting presidents in and out of sticky situations for as long as there's been presidents of the United States. So they'll get him to the courthouse. What's going to go on outside the courthouse, who knows? I mean, maybe we'll have a Michael Jackson moment where, Trump stops and stands up out of the sunroof of the car and waves to everybody. With Donald Trump, you never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, guaranteed. You never know what is going to happen next there. But what we can also talk about going forward there is with this arraignment here coming up in really just hour and a half. Going forward there, though, he is a candidate for 2024, and his legal team is going to do really everything to keep pushing this case back. I mean, tell us a little bit more of the timeline that you would think of. I mean, this case, even being brought to trial, like how far out would we even be from that?
Oh, trial would probably be at least a year out, although there are speedy trial rules. And if he wanted to push it, he could push them, and to go to trial as quickly as possible. But I think he would. Well, the first thing he's going to do is he's got a bunch of motions he's going to file. He's going to try to get this dismissed. And if he gets this dismissed early in the process, that's a huge win for him, both personally and in the election.
There he is, Donald Trump. We just want to go to it. Hold on right there, Dwane. We just saw Donald Trump. We're showing that to you as well so you could see it. But he just came out there and raising his fist there to the crowd of supporters as well as the media members there. So we just saw that. So now Trump has left Trump Tower there and will soon be making his way there. Sorry to cut you off there, Dwane. I just wanted to show that to our viewers and bring that to everyone there. But yeah, so continue on. I'm very sorry about that.
Well, they're going to fight those motions, tooth and nail at the very beginning, because if they can get this dismissed early on, that's not only a huge win for him personally, but a big win for his campaign, because then he can say, see, I told you there was nothing here. And, I did everything perfectly, as he likes to say. And that would be a huge win for him if he can get it done early. But you never know with this judge, he's going to try to get rid of this judge. You can file motions to have judges recused from cases based on bias, demonstrated bias. And I think this judge is is about as close as you can get to being having demonstrated bias against Donald Trump. So that's going to be one of the other first things he does.
All right, and now we do have Donald Trump there on the move. We just want to bring this to our viewers right here. Sky Fox showing now going the 4-mile journey from Trump Tower to the courthouse there, and you can see the people there on the sidewalk. And Dwane, while we have you here, let's continue to talk over the video there, but I want to ask you as well, Donald Trump also put there on his Truth Social that he wants to see this leave New York City and leave Manhattan and go to Staten Island. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Well, absolutely. That's another motion he's going to file, which is change of venue, because he doesn't believe that he can get a fair trial in New York. And he's probably right. It's going to be really difficult for him to get a fair trial in New York, especially with this judge. So they're going to file a change of venue motion. And I'm surprised they're moving it. He's suggesting they move it somewhere this close. I would move it to Texas or somewhere where people like him instead of New York. And, but that's going to be one of the first things he can do. And with this video, the only way it could get better if it was a white Bronco.
Yeah, definitely. We have to go all the way back to the 90s for that one here. But this is our new moment right here as we are seeing this really unprecedented moment in history as we're talking about a former president now being taken from his home and escorted to a courthouse where he will be arraigned here in just moments. We continue to follow this along at every step of the way right here on Live Now from Fox. If you're just joining us here, welcome. We appreciate you being here as you are watching history in the making as well. We are joined right now by legal analyst Dwane Cates. We're so happy to have you here to kind of guide us here through these next moments here. And for the viewers that are just coming on, Dwane, let's talk about one more time when he does go through this special door and inside of the courthouse here. Let's talk about who will he be greeted by first and who will be guiding him to the area that he needs to be at.
Well, he'll be met by law enforcement when he comes in the building because technically what he's doing is self-surrendering to the court. And so law enforcement will take him. They'll put him through the booking process, but from what I understand, they're not going to do a mugshot. And that's too bad because that would be a bestseller T-shirt everywhere in America for those that like him and those that don't. But they'll take his fingerprints, they'll get his biographical data, and they'll do the booking process, and then he will be taken up to the courtroom where he'll do his arraignment. And we know also that Secret Service obviously is going to be with him at every step of the way there. Is there anything like as far as when the officers are there in the courthouse, are they going to be directed by Secret Service members? Like who has the lead there as far as telling what the former president should be doing? Well, I think it's going to have to be cooperation. I mean, they're going to tell him where to go. And then the Secret Service agents are going to escort him to where he's going, because I don't think they're going to they're not going to just let him walk around by himself, and they're not going to be separated from Donald Trump by law enforcement at any point. Secret Service is going to be there with him every step of the way. So, the law enforcement officers technically have control over what goes on, but I believe they've worked out some logistics with the Secret Service to make this run smoothly.
Yeah, we've been hearing just highly orchestrated there. There was planning about this weeks in the making there. And, there was a moment there where we thought, the grand jury was going to be going on a break there for most of April and coming back in May. And then last week, we really got the news there and the breaking news coming in the afternoon and early evening hours that Trump was indeed returned with an indictment there. And I got to ask you, Dwane, when you heard about that news coming, that the indictment had been reached there, what was your thinkings?
Well, I was a little bit shocked because they kept taking pauses in the grand jury. And like you said, they basically announced that they were going to go on their Easter recess and come back and take it up after that. But I've done a lot of work with juries, and juries don't like to be held over a holiday. And so I believe that the grand juries probably said, hey, let's get this done now rather than wait till after Easter.
Yeah, very, very true there. As we take a look here, let's go out full right now to the motorcade that is going to the courthouse here. And we are going to see, there was some speculation and some reporting also by Fox News that Trump wanted to maybe speak in the hallway there right before going in. As if he was your client, Dwane, what would you tell the former president to do in this moment going for his arraignment?
Number one, I would tell him to keep his mouth shut, but that's not very practical with Donald Trump. My standard statement when the press comes up to me when I'm going into a court hearing is my client's going to plead not guilty because he is not guilty. And that would be a good statement for him to make, is that I'm going to plead not guilty because I am not guilty. And his attorney should remind America that he's innocent until proven guilty. And these are just accusations and they're not convictions.
Yeah, very, very true to bring that forward here. And when we hear from District Attorney Alvin Bragg a little bit later there after this arraignment is, and we'll get to really hear a lot about the charges there that are brought against him. But when you hear the reporting there that it could be as high as 34 counts, what is your thinking on that? And for hearing that, is that a super high number for a case like this?
Well, the prosecutors tend to always overcharge cases so they can plea bargain them down later. And so, that's not a shocking number. I mean, I've seen cases with 100 counts, but, again, until we see what they are, they could all be ticky-tacky little, like you put this down in your financial statement when it should have been this, real minor errors, accounting errors. And, we don't know. So we're just speculating. But I expect Alvin Bragg to go up to the microphone and do just that, brag.
There we go. And I want to show you this one right here to our viewers, maybe just coming on. This was moments ago, Donald Trump waving to the cameras, waving to supporters there coming out of Trump Tower there. And we wanted to bring that everyone's attention just a little bit ago because we're waiting on that shot really all morning long there. And now another live look here at the motorcade. And who can come outside of his legal team, Dwane? Who else can come with the president as far as entourage is involved here inside of the courtroom?
Well, I mean, I don't think they can keep his Secret Service detail out of the courtroom. And, as far as who gets to sit at counsel table, that's generally just the attorneys and the defendant. Now they can be stationed throughout the courtroom, the Secret Service. In fact, they may even be inside the bar, standing, off to the side. But they can't say you can't have your Secret Service people there, and so that's who's going to be there. Now this is open to the public, and I'll guarantee you, there's been a long line of people trying to get into this hearing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw people there sleeping overnight there, and there was also even some professional line sitters that'll, if you pay them, they'll wait in line there. We saw those people there as well in the early mornings there. So people are monetizing this opportunity that has become a huge spectacle in the making right here on Live Now from Fox as we continue to showcase this that continues to roll out live right here on Sky Fox of the Trump motorcade making their way to the courthouse now for the arraignment there. And Dwane, I got to ask you too, as well as when we're talking about the former president that still has hopes for 2024, is a candidate right now. and if you said if they could keep putting these emotions and backing this trial, or even if it goes to trial in a year, well, that'll put a smack dab right in the middle there of the true campaign season. And how would that even gel if you're trying to run for president and, hey, you got to have a court trial date coming up?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Trump has a tendency to suck all the oxygen out of a room, and he's kind of doing that with the news cycle right now, because it's all Trump all the time. And if this goes to trial, it's going to be all Trump all the time. And there is the saying that any publicity is good publicity, but I'm torn whether that's going to work here or not. There are going to be people are going to take sides. I mean, it's going to divide America. People are going to take sides about this trial, and that's going to affect the election. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yes, yes. And now we are continuing to showcase the motorcade, making the way there. And I also want to talk about a little bit more about his 8:15 Eastern really remarks that I'll be making back at Mar-a-Lago, and it'll be interesting to see what he can say and what he will say. I'm really sure that if he's given the opportunity to speak, well, it'll be no holds barred. Dwane, what about you?
Well, yeah, again, you never know what Donald Trump is going to say, and generally he has a lot to say, and I'm sure he will rail against the system and rail against Prosecutor Bragg. And he will defend his innocence.
Yes, very, very true there as well. And now I just want to show our viewers here the protest rally happening right outside of the courthouse as well. And we are waiting there for the former president to make his way up the steps there of the courthouse and into the building there. And the moment that we were hearing last week, when there was some reporting that Donald Trump actually wanted to be handcuffed and was thinking that it would be a good move to be seen in handcuffs there as a political moment there in history. What would you have thought of seeing the president there handcuffed, and would that even have been a possibility? I know he wanted it, but was that even a thinking in the realm there of a possibility to happen?
Well, it was a possibility, and normally when people self-surrender, when they're transported from wherever they self-surrender to the bookings area, they're usually handcuffed. Now, he's going to be, he's showing up directly there. And so, him being handcuffed or not handcuffed is basically law enforcement's call. But, he's surrounded by Secret Service. Everybody in the country's watching this. I mean, what's he going to do? Run or punch somebody? Okay. So, he's going to be fine. And it's the smart thing to do as far as the prosecution goes, because again, had he had Trump handcuffed and did a perp walk with him handcuffed, then everybody would say, see, this is a political show trial. I still believe it's a political show trial, but that would have really made it look like one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go right here full for our viewers right here on Live Now from Fox. We are at the moment here of President Trump there arriving at the courthouse here. So what I want to do is keep you on, Dwane, but I also want to just bring in the audio right here, just right outside of the courthouse to show the former president coming out of the SUV. So let's listen in for a little bit right here on Live Now from Fox as what we could possibly hear, and if he will make any motions again to the camera. But as you can see here, the security has been lined up. The block has really been blocked off in several areas here, all for security measures there for the former president there. And you can see more people going into the courthouse right now. You can't even really see a clear shot of it at this moment, but Let's also talk again, Dwane, for the viewers here, maybe just coming on and seeing these pictures right outside of the courthouse here. And let's also talk about just these next moments there for the former president, who he will be greeted by inside of the courthouse.
Well, as soon as he walks in, he's going to be greeted by law enforcement, and law enforcement's going to escort him to the area where they do the booking. And he will be booked in, just like everybody else who's charged with a crime and self-surrenders is going to be booked in. And then after his booking process, he'll be taken to the courtroom and where they'll do his arraignment. Now, the arraignment's a pretty short hearing, generally 5-10 minutes. And after that, he'll walk back out. I'm assuming he'll walk back out, get in his car, and fly back to Mar-a-Lago.
Now, at what point can Trump's legal team try to get a judge dismissed and try to get a new venue or try to get a new judge as well over the possibility there of having what Donald Trump would say is unfair advantage?
Well, I'd be surprised if those motions weren't already written. Now, it would always be prudent to wait to see what the indictment says before you start filing motions. But I believe that the motion to remove the judge in this case has already been written and will be filed within the next day or two.
All right, that is good information there as well. I want to show our viewers right here. Just moments ago, Sky Fox was able to capture Donald Trump heading into the courthouse here with that side entrance there that we have been talking about. You can see the Secret Service there behind the former president there going in the courthouse. So now he is in the courthouse there and now doing what exactly you've been talking about there, Dwane, is going to be processed here in just moments and awaiting that arraignment. And then what happens next, who knows, right, as far as the remarks that will be made. But we always encourage all our viewers to continue to watch with us right here on Live Now from Fox. Really history in the making day here in New York City, as this will go down as one of the biggest in not only in the legal sense, but also the political sense as well, when you're talking about somebody that is trying to run again for president and now will have the opportunity to really kind of showcase this not as a defeat against him in ways that some political observers would say, could be just a dynamite of bricks thrown at you for anyone else. But how it always seems with Donald Trump that he is a Teflon about him, where it can bounce back and almost use this as a positive for him and his campaign. And Dwane, in the legal sense here, what would you say to him as far as, I'm sure he doesn't feel like, depressed about this at all, more maybe even motivated?
Yeah, absolutely. He may, he feeds on this. He really does. Donald Trump's a fighter and he likes a good fight. And he just got invited to one, and he's going to come out swinging. He's going to come out with everything he's got in this, and it's going to be a brawl. It really is.
There we go. That's a good way to end it right here with you, Dwane. We appreciate it right here on Live Now from Fox, really giving us a sense and setting us up, really setting the table up here for what we can expect in the next coming hours here on Live Now from Fox. But it's been a real treat to speak with you, Dwane. We really appreciate it here on Live Now from Fox. And certified specialist in criminal law, Dwane Cates, thank you again for being here on Live Now from Fox.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And now let's go out full, everyone, here, just outside of the courthouse here, where we did see the former president